Xiao Chen looked around the pathway of the Will of Thunder and did not discover any good, available spots. However, he could make do under the circumstances. After thinking that, he walked over. Where is this junior from? Don't you know the rules? Is that a place you can sit at? A black-clothed old man complained, his face filled with anger. Another old man followed up, saying indifferently, just stand there. When someone successfully comprehends the state of thunder, you can take that person's spot. This is the rule of the Thunder Emperor Valley. Xiao Chen paused and replied apathetically, does this not mean that if no one is able to comprehend the state of thunder, I will have to stand here indefinitely? The black-clothed old man who spoke initially closed his eyes, not willing to look at Xiao Chen. He said, that's right. You probably will have to wait for another year and a half. Wait for 1.5 years. What a joke. Xiao Chen did not have that much time to wait. So, he simply continued walking over. The black-clothed old man suddenly opened his eyes and a bright light came from them. He said in a cold voice, take another step and you will never walk again. Spring thunder chop. Suddenly, snowflakes drifted down and a clap of thunder resounded. Xiao Chen drew his lunar shadow saber at lightning speed. The natural laws spread out from the saber's edge and turned into a spring breeze blowing at the black-clothed old man. You overestimate yourself. The black-clothed old man laughed coldly at first. Then, when he saw the spring breeze assaulting him and the natural laws contained in it, he felt a strong pressure. He was horrified to find that he could not stand up in the face of this spring wind blowing at him. Bang! When the spring wind struck the black-clothed old man, the natural laws exploded out. Vomiting a mouthful of blood, the old man was knocked down to the bottom of the valley and splashed in the water. Shoo! The other old men in deep thought at the top of the valley all opened their eyes. Their faces filled with astonishment as they looked at the white-robed bladesman holding a saber with a passive expression. Xiao Chen ignored the shock in these people's eyes. Then he sheathed his saber and walked over to the black-clothed old man's spot. Young man, don't be too brash. You are so ruthless at such a young age. Is this the attitude you have for your seniors? An old man in gray robes asked in a sullen voice. His face was filled with wrinkles but his eyes were spirited. One should have proper conduct when dealing with things. You are lacking propriety. All of us have been waiting for several months already. We only take a seat when there is a spot available. The youth these days are so unruly. You cannot sit at this spot. The rules are the rules. That's right. If you sit down now, doesn't that means that just anyone can come and take a seat? Where can we put our faces after this? Along the rim of the Thunder Emperor Valley, several half-step martial monarch old men complained. The old men here were people who became famous long ago, tyrants of their areas. Everywhere they went, they would be respected by the people. They had never seen such a youth that did not show them respect. Naturally, they did not have a good impression of Xiao Chen. Simply put, these old men thought that Xiao Chen, as a junior, was not qualified to sit with them. Xiao Chen looked coldly at this group of old men. He felt that it was funny. They treated the Thunder Emperor Valley as a business that they ran. The moment they spoke, they wanted him to wait for 1.5 years. Where did they get their arrogance from? If it was a martial monarch expert arriving, then they would not have cared. These were a bunch of people who could not break through to martial monarch despite their old age. What qualifications did they have to speak to martial monarchs? They took turns in order of arrival because they knew that they were not at the advantage. They understood themselves well, they knew that they would not be able to snatch a spot, so there was no need to be so overbearing. Xiao Chen's time was tight, he could only stay here for at most half a month. There was no need for him to waste his time with these people. If people respected Xiao Chen, he would repay them severalfold. However, these people used sophistry to try and advance their cause, so there was no need for him to show them any respect. Their advanced age did not matter. If they were not strong enough, then they were not qualified to speak. When three of the old men saw Xiao Chen continuing to walk forward, anger showed on their faces as they quickly stood up. The three old men used their auras to lock onto Xiao Chen. Their eyes lit up and their essence surged. Their clothes and hair fluttered non-stop. You are truly ignorant of the heights of the sky and the depths of the sea. Today, I will teach you a lesson on behalf of your elders. I will teach you to respect your seniors. Shoo, shoo, shoo. The three old men soared into the air, and with the flip of their hands, swords appeared in their grasp. Their swords lit up with a cold flickering light arcing with electricity. Clearly, they were experts who comprehended the state of thunder. Surging essence extended from the edges of their swords. Thunder roared and lightning flashed in the sky. The three old men knew that Xiao Chen defeated the black-clothed old man with one saber strike. So they did not dare to underestimate him. They attacked with their full power, wanting to heavily injure Xiao Chen with one blow. Xiao Chen drew the pitch-black lunar shadow saber again and exhibited his great perfection state of thunder. He laughed loudly and said, "If you want to attack, just do so. There is no need to find a righteous excuse. I, Xiao Chen, will accept all challenges." Boom, boom, boom. As Xiao Chen's state of thunder spread out, the immortal will of thunder in the air unexpectedly showed up in advance. Thunder boomed continuously. This immortal will of thunder seemed to have been attracted by Xiao Chen. 10,000 horses galloped in the clouds as Xiao Chen used the rushing thunder roars. He shouted a war cry and did not attempt to dodge. The inextinguishable Saber Intent erupted from his saber as he used the final move of the rushing thunder saber technique. A huge whirlpool appeared in the thunderclouds, and a golden knight on a horse, holding a spear and made of lightning, burst forth from the whirlpool. The warhorse galloped in the air as thunder roared continuously. In an instant, Xiao Chen's vast state of thunder suppressed the three old men's state of thunder. What's going on? How can this fellow's state of thunder be stronger than ours? Unexpectedly, he also comprehended Saber Intent. The three exclaimed with horror on their faces. They were greatly astonished. Bang! The lightning knight swept its spear across, using the boundless might of thunder. The combined attacks of the three old men were immediately shattered. The radiance of the lightning knight did not dim at all. It contained Saber Intent and a strong state of thunder. The three old men had not even comprehended sword intent, and their state of thunder was weaker than Xiao Chen's. Furthermore, their essence was not as vast and pure, either. The lightning knight crashed into them and they were knocked off their perches and into the water. Within the valley, the merchant ships that passed had not paid much attention when the first black-clothed old man fell into the water. When the three old men fell in, that finally attracted some attention. The cultivators on about 10 merchant ships all gathered on the decks and looked up, trying to figure out what was happening. How reckless and daring! You really treat us as non-existent and even dare to attack. This time, when Xiao Chen attacked without holding back, defeating 3 half-step martial monarchs, he had angered the crowd. So, another 5 old men leapt up. The 5 old men soared into the air, glaring angrily at Xiao Chen. Their auras quickly rose as they prepared strong killing moves. Xiao Chen said calmly, "Not showing respect to my seniors. How can you call yourselves my seniors despite being so weak? Get down." Fire of the 7th month, the summer sun hangs high in the sky, blazing with extreme heat, burning to desolation. The pitch-black lunar shadow saber flickered with fire, giving off a dazzling light. It illuminated the Thunder Emperor Valley, which was covered in dark clouds. The flames were like a miniature sun. Xiao Chen held the lunar shadow saber and rushed at the 5 old men without a care for consequences. He swung his saber and the light burst forth, shooting out a boundless fire. The 5 old men were still preparing their killing moves. They hastily launched their attacks, but the blazing flame from Xiao Chen wiped these out before exploding. The huge force blew the 5 old men into the valley. When the cultivators on the merchant ships below saw the 5 human-shaped fireballs falling from above and heard the miserable shrieks that came from them, they felt fear in their hearts. Another 5 people fell. I think I can make out the elder of the great Chu nation's Spreading Fire Manor and the vice manor lord of the great Tang nation's 100-Flower Manor. What is happening up there? Who is powerful enough to defeat these old men who had become famous long ago? These people have been monopolizing the Thunder Emperor Valley for a long time, but I've never heard anything like this happening before. The eyes of the cultivators on the merchant ship's decks were filled with doubt as they discussed the situation. However, they were clear on their own strength. No one flew up to see what was happening. They only made blind guesses. Attack together. This junior is too arrogant. There is no sense in trying to explain morality and righteousness to him. The remaining 7 people could no longer sit still. Originally, they thought that Xiao Chen was just an ordinary genius cultivator. They had not expected that despite Xiao Chen's young age, he was almost unrivaled among half-step martial monarchs already. How laughable. You are just a bunch of stubborn old men bullying a junior. However many step up, I will defeat you all. How dare you speak of morality and righteousness? Xiao Chen, who was in the air, smiled coldly when he saw the 7 people flying over. He swung his saber and a drizzle started to fall. A dreary wind and incessant rain, a cool breeze blows and autumn water ripples. As my fated person smiles faintly, I will gift you a gentle saber strike. However, do you dare to accept? The rain that filled the sky gathered to form a line. This saber strike was very gentle. The 7 people flying over in the air did not even feel any danger. Then, the strong force in the wind started moving chaotically. The clothes of these 7 ripped apart. They did their best to stabilize themselves, trying to block the Saber Intent, but it was all in vain. A Saber Intent that could split the sea had already rushed over. How could a group of half-step martial monarchs stand a chance? The gentle Saber Intent entered their bodies and the 7 people all vomited blood. By the time the Saber Intent faded away, none of their clothes remained. Then, they fell into the valley naked, crashing into the water. They did not dare to float back up. The cultivators on the merchant ship's decks opened their eyes wide, like they had seen ghosts. The 7 half-step martial monarchs were in such miserable states, even their clothes did not remain. They were also old as well. Where would they be able to show their faces after this? Could it be a martial monarch expert? Impossible. There cannot be a martial monarch in the Thunder Emperor Valley. That will of thunder will not permit the presence of a martial monarch. Some people below guessed that a martial monarch had come. However, they were immediately rebutted. As the merchant, the Thunder Emperor Valley was not anybody's personal property. No one had the right to monopolize it for themselves and stop others from comprehending. On the Tianwu continent, martial monarchs were the peak combat force. No matter where they went, they would be respected by thousands of people. They could be a big shot anywhere. However, there were too few martial monarchs. The Great Qin nation had more than 100 million people. Counting both known and unknown martial monarchs, the total would come to fewer than 50. Some powers who sought guest elders could not find martial monarchs. So, they could only lower their expectations and look for half-step martial monarchs. Before the age of geniuses, if a martial monarch did not come out, a half-step martial monarch would be the strong fighting force of a nation. Half-step martial monarchs would be able to obtain respected and glorious positions. No matter where they went, they would be treated politely. This was how the old men in the Thunder Emperor Valley were treated. So, when those old men in the Thunder Emperor Valley first saw Xiao Chen, they immediately put on airs, wanting him to wait for over a year and a half first. These old men had not realized that times had changed. In this age of geniuses, half-step martial monarchs were nothing. The strongest half-step martial monarch, the Bloody Bladesman, Sun Guangquan, clearly recognized this. He knew that this was the age of geniuses. Only by continuously becoming stronger would Sun Guangquan not get left behind by the times. If he continued to rest on his laurels, he would only become a stepping stone for geniuses. The immortal will of thunder in the sky still had not appeared. Xiao Chen found a place and sat down cross-legged. Then, he closed his eyes and started comprehending. The lightning attributed spiritual energy here was particularly lively. Occasionally, one might see arcs of electricity in the air. It was hard to imagine that this will of thunder had survived for a few thousand years until now without weakening. The Thunder Emperor, the strongest martial emperor of his age, even Xiao Chen could not estimate how strong he had been. The higher Xiao Chen's cultivation climbed, the more respect he felt for the Thunder Emperor. In the past, Xiao Chen had not understood. He had thought that the best the Thunder Emperor could do was shatter mountains and split the seas. However, Xiao Chen could now shatter mountains and split seas himself. So, how much stronger had the Thunder Emperor been, exactly? Only when Xiao Chen reached that realm would he truly understand what the view was like at the top. Unconsciously, while in the Thunder Emperor Valley, Xiao Chen became more resolute on the martial path. Higher, higher. Xiao Chen kept thinking of climbing higher. Someday, he would have something like a Thunder Emperor Valley of his very own. The will that Xiao Chen would leave behind would be like the Thunder Emperor's. Even though 10,000 years had gone by, it would be undiminished by the passage of time, its sharpness would never be extinguished. After 4 hours, a crack of thunder roared. Xiao Chen, who had his eyes closed, opened his eyes and muttered, "It's coming." Xiao Chen saw only a golden bolt of lightning hidden in the churning dark clouds in the sky, moving around continuously. Such a solemn atmosphere filled the entire peak that one did not even dare to breathe heavily. There was a certain weight on the heart, like a mountain pressing down on the chest. Occasionally, golden light would pierce through the dark clouds, instantly forming a bolt of golden lightning and tearing space in half. Wang, wang. The lunar shadow saber beside Xiao Chen trembled non-stop, as if it would unsheath itself at any moment. It clearly seemed excited. The vast wall of thunder in the clouds hovered above Xiao Chen, circling him continuously. When Xiao Chen felt the might of the thunder, he thought to himself, what a strong will of thunder. Although the will of thunder and the state of thunder differ by one word, the power they contain are on completely different scales. It seems that this will of thunder knows who I am and intends to help me. If others want to comprehend the state of thunder, they only have that 1 second when the lightning flies over their heads. However, it is staying above me, allowing me to sense its might at every moment. Xiao Chen closed his eyes again, this time not letting anything distract him. He focused himself and slowly unleashed his state of thunder. Time crept by. With guidance from the will of thunder, Xiao Chen's understanding of thunder deepened. At some point in time, he started releasing a purple light from his body. These purple lights were all flickering electricity. Xiao Chen entered into a miraculous state. His entire consciousness was immersed in a world of electricity. Ideas and thoughts flowed continuously. His understanding of thunder reached an unprecedented level. The purple electricity kept crackling around him. 3 days later, Xiao Chen opened his eyes. Electricity flickered in their depths, making them look very spirited. When he looked up, the will of thunder in the sky had already gone into hiding again, retreating to an unknown place. Xiao Chen stood up and with a thought, a bolt of berserk lightning flew out of his palm, illuminating the surrounding space. When the light faded, Xiao Chen pulled his right hand back and the bolt of lightning strangely returned to his palm. Complete control. I have already comprehended the state of thunder to the limit already. I am just 1 step shy of transforming it into the will of thunder. However, that is a matter for when I advance to martial monarch. I do not have to think about it for now. Xiao Chen sighed softly. I was able to benefit so much in such a short time. No wonder there were martial sages in the past that wanted to subdue this will of thunder for themselves. Not to mention the personal benefits, if they released it in their sect, they would be able to create many experts with the state of thunder. Now that I have settled this, it is time to return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. With my current strength, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion should not stop me from entering. Back then, in that battle in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, Xiao Chen had killed Bian Peak's peak master, Song Ke. According to sect rules, if a disciple killed a peak master, no matter for what reason, they had to die. The first elder, Zhang Kai, spared Xiao Chen from death. However, Xiao Chen could not return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion anymore. Xiao Chen still felt grateful to this first elder. Back then, if Zhang Kai had not suppressed the noble clan elders at the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, Xiao Chen would have died long ago. Although the first elder had chased Xiao Chen out of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the end, in reality, he had been helping him. Xiao Chen jumped off the rim of the valley towards the Black Dragon River below, intending to follow the river upstream. Once he passed the entrance to the ancient desolate land, he would be back in the Great Qin nation. Just when Xiao Chen stepped onto the river, he heard a soft sigh. He turned his head and his lips could not help curling up into a smile. A person in black leather armor and a half-mask appeared in the valley. Unexpectedly, Shi Feng was here. She raised her eyebrows slightly. She smiled and said, "Brother Direction Dunce, are you not afraid of falling to your death by jumping from such a height?" TL note. Brother Direction Dunce. This is a direct translation from Chinese. This term normally refers to a person with poor sense of direction and is normally used to scold or tease someone. It is a form of name-calling. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "Sorry to disappoint you. Even if it were twice as high, I would be fine jumping off it. You still have not removed your mask. Seems like your experiential training was not successful." Shi Feng said in a huff, "Never you mind." Xiao Chen thought for a while and took out a wooden box from the universe ring. Then, he tossed the wooden box to Shi Feng and said, "Pass this to your adoptive father. Say that it is from an old friend." "What is it?" Xiao Chen said calmly, "To you and me, it is merely a pile of scrap metal." Shi Feng caught the wooden box and stared suspiciously at Xiao Chen. She said, "Why should I help you deliver this?" Ca. Just right after Shi Feng spoke, Xiao Chen drew his lunar shadow saber at lightning speed. A sharp saber light flashed and Shi Feng's mask broke into two. The pieces fell into the river, revealing a beautiful face. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and said, "No need to thank me. Take it as my payment for your help in delivering this. By the way, you are beautiful, you do not have to wear a mask. Killing and fighting are matters for men. Don't listen to your bastard adoptive father about controlling your expression when you fight." Shi Feng stood on the water, feeling stunned, as she watched Xiao Chen leave. She did not recover her wits even after a long time. The mask that she had worn for over a decade was unexpectedly removed by someone else just like that. The initial rage in Shi Feng's eyes slowly turned to calm. She looked down and saw her reflection in the water. She whispered, "That egomaniac, what do you mean fighting is only for men? Sooner or later, I will defeat you." The Great Qin Nation, Zaihe Province. At the foot of an endless chain of mountains, the famous Saber City was as bustling as before, flourishing with a grand atmosphere. The cultivators here all had either huge sabers on their backs or exquisite sabers girdled at their waists. They all had solemn expressions as they arrived at the Holy Land for bladesmen. A white-robed youth stood before the city gates. A long, slender saber hung at his waist as he revealed a melancholic expression on his handsome face. 2 years, it's been 2 years. I, Xiao Chen, have returned. Normally, it would take 2 months to reach the Heavenly Saber Pavilion from the Thunder Emperor Valley. Xiao Chen had gone at full speed without resting. So his travel time was significantly shorter, he arrived in half a month. As Xiao Chen rushed over, the closer he got, the more chaotic his thoughts became. In the past 2 years, Xiao Chen had suppressed thoughts of his loved one deep in his heart. He did not think about her or ask about her. Because Xiao Chen was not strong enough, he could not return to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. If he thought about her, he would feel nothing but bitterness. Xiao Chen only wanted to meet her as soon as he could, he did not think of anything else. He buried his longing in his heart, not telling anyone, suffering alone. When he reached the peak, he would fulfill his promise. However, now that he drew so close to Saber City, the thoughts that he suppressed burst out uncontrollably. Is she doing well? How is she now? How are her injuries? Might she blame me for not writing letters? Will she remember there was once an inexperienced youth who shouted out those funny words from the top of the summit? Will she remember the promise the white-robed youth made? Xiao Chen smiled, feeling disappointed and frustrated. He shook his head slightly and collected his thoughts. After he'd paid the entry toll, he slowly headed inside the city. The white-robed bladesman really had great influence. Unexpectedly, there are still people dressing like him. That is normal. Think about what happened that day in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. He defeated the experts from the Holy Land single-handedly. Then, he defeated the noble clan's geniuses. Our Heavenly Saber Pavilion has not had. Xiao Chen casually looked around the city. There really were many cultivators wearing white robes and girdling a long, slender saber at their waist. Saber City was only the outer sect of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Given Xiao Chen's current strength and that he no longer had an identity token, it would be very difficult for him to enter the inner sect. He also would not be able to forcefully barge in. However, Xiao Chen had his means. He did not head straight for the inner sect. He came to Saber City first in order to initiate his plan. The plan was very simple: steal an inner sect token. Although that was very disgraceful, he could only apologize to the junior that he stole it from. Xiao Chen stayed in the city for more than half the day. Soon, he locked onto his target. It was a female disciple who traveled alone. This junior seemed to be no older than 18. She had delicate facial features and her hair was tied back in a ponytail. She looked very vivacious. She held a small saber in her left hand and a bronze token hung at her waist. Xiao Chen followed this girl to a desolate alley before approaching her. He smiled faintly and said, "Hello, junior sister." When the pony-tailed girl saw the white-robed and handsome Xiao Chen, she was slightly stunned. She felt that he was unfathomable. She quickly bowed and said, "Greetings, senior brother." The girl was startled. "Which peak is this senior brother from? He is very strong. Even though he is so young, he is stronger than master." The rules were very strict in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. When a junior met their senior, they had to greet the senior respectfully. Xiao Chen found it funny. It seemed that this girl did believe he was one of her senior brothers. Taking advantage of the time the girl's head was lowered, he quickly snatched the girl's token. "Why is senior brother looking for me?" the pony-tailed girl asked worriedly. Xiao Chen hid the token in his sleeve and smiled. "It's nothing much. Senior brother recognized the wrong person. I will take my leave first." As the pony-tailed girl watched Xiao Chen leave, she felt very depressed. She did not know what had happened. Out of habit, she placed her hand at her waist. She suddenly paled. Her token had disappeared. "Stop there." The pony-tailed girl quickly drew her saber as she shouted angrily. The saber left her hand, spinning quickly. As the saber whirled, it seemed like it would cut space in half. It gave off a strong wind as it hummed. Profound wind chop. Xiao Chen looked back and smiled faintly. However, it is still lacking control. Junior sister, keep working hard. He stretched out his hand and used his finger to touch the spinning saber. Then, a surging essence burst forth from his fingertip. Bang! Xiao Chen's finger returned the spinning saber to the girl at an even faster speed. Before the pony-tailed girl could react, the saber sheathed itself back in the scabbard in her left hand. How can it be? The girl's delicate face filled with shock. This was one of Qingyan Peak's secret techniques. Yet, it was broken just like that. After a while, the girl remembered about her token. She started crying as she said, "This senior brother is mean. You lost your own token, so you snatched mine. What should I do? What should I do?" This person was able to recognize the profound wind chop with one glance and could break it casually. Yet, he did not harm her. In this girl's opinion, Xiao Chen must be a genius disciple of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Because he was careless, he lost his token and could not enter the Lingyun mountain range. Hence, he snatched her token in replacement. After Xiao Chen was far away, he flipped over the token and took a look. Indeed, it was as he expected. There were the words, Qingyan Peak, on the back and the name, Leng Shishi, on the front. The calligraphy on it looked firm and drawn out. Damn, this is too embarrassing. It really is one of my junior sisters. Please don't blame your senior brother. Shishi, right, I will return it when I come back. Xiao Chen took the token and hung it at his waist. Then, he went to the foot of the Lingyun mountain range, following the crowd as he entered. The disciple that guarded the entrance gave Xiao Chen a quick glance and did not bother to give him a second look. With so many people passing by, it was not possible for him to check all of them carefully. That disciple could only rely on his experience. If he saw something wrong with their expressions or actions, he would take a second, and more careful, look. Xiao Chen was previously a Heavenly Saber disciple, so he would not make any mistakes in this aspect. Xiao Chen was very familiar with every path, every mountain, every pavilion here. This place had not changed much since the last time he had been here. Before Xiao Chen entered Saber City, he had felt restless. However, when he entered the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, he calmed down. Xiao Chen hovered about 1 centimeter above the ground, but he still made walking motions. He looked at the towering Qingyan Peak and took a deep breath before slowly walking over. Qingyan Peak, I, Xiao Chen, am back. Elder sister Ruyu, Su Feng, Xiao Yang, Xiao Meng, are you guys doing well? Qingyan Peak disciples went past Xiao Chen. Some of the older disciples found him very familiar. So they stopped to take a second look. These disciples had a rough guess in their hearts. However, although Xiao Chen's appearance had not changed much in 2 years, the feeling he gave off had changed a lot. The inexperience and tenderness on Xiao Chen's face were now gone. Replacing them were maturity and experience. His countenance was very different from the past. The most important thing was that Xiao Chen had transformed into Yi Chen when he was in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. He only revealed his true appearance at the very end. Although these people had a suspicion in their hearts, after thinking about it, they believed that he could not be Xiao Chen. Furthermore, Xiao Chen had sworn never to take a step into the Heavenly Saber Pavilion again. These disciples simply gave Xiao Chen a few more glances and mocked themselves. They felt that their imagination was too fanciful. There were many bladesmen wearing white robes, they could not all be Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen acted cautious and tried to hide, his behavior would only stir up suspicion. So, he maintained a calm expression and continued walking openly. He proceeded uneventfully. Just when he was about 7 or 8 minutes away from Qingyan Peak, a group of disciples wearing the Bian Peak uniform suddenly appeared in front. Xiao Chen gave them a glance, and when he saw the appearance of the leader, he quickly lowered his head, preparing to keep a low profile. The leader was Song Qiu's son, Song Qian, who was now Bian Peak's peak master. At this moment, he was leading a group of Bian Peak's people. They were cheerful and lively as they prepared to go down the mountain. At first, when the group passed by Xiao Chen, they did not pay much notice to him. However, Song Qinhei's gaze fell on Xiao Chen's face without meaning to. Then, his expression changed greatly. Song Qian had a grudge against Xiao Chen, who had killed his father 2 years ago. This face would appear in his mind at any moment, day or night. Now that he saw Xiao Chen in person, he was shocked. Halt! Which peak are you from? Report your name. Song Qian called out in a fierce tone to stop Xiao Chen. Was I discovered? Xiao Chen revealed a bitter smile as he turned around helplessly. He was not afraid of this person. However, he had just arrived and did not want to cause any trouble. Song Qian, it's been a long time, Xiao Chen said with a calm expression. It really is him. Song Qinhei's face sank. Clenching his teeth, he said, Xiao Chen, you really dared to appear here. Back then, didn't you swear never to take a step into the Heavenly Saber Pavilion? Now that you've gone back on your word, let's see how you give an account to the Elders' Assembly. When the 10-odd Bian Peak disciples behind Song Qian saw Xiao Chen, they were all astonished. The person before them was the famous white-robed bladesman. Xiao Chen chuckled and said, I'm sorry, you saw wrongly. I did not go back on my word. I did not take a step onto the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Song Qian looked carefully and noticed that Xiao Chen was floating 1 centimeter above the ground. With the cover from his long robes, it looked like he was walking on the ground. However, Xiao Chen's feet did not touch the ground at all. You. Song Qian pointed his finger furiously at Xiao Chen. He was so angry his face turned red. Song Qian drew his weapon and said sternly, I don't care if you broke your word or not. Since you came to the Heavenly Saber Pavilion today, you can forget about leaving. Xiao Chen's face sank. He placed his right hand on his saber's hilt as a cold killing chi spread out. He replied in a frosty voice, try taking a step forward, then. Xiao Chen's killing chi felt very dense, it was bone-chilling. Song Qian felt fear in his heart for no apparent reason. So he stopped. However, he could not make out why he was afraid. Back then, Xiao Chen had shattered Song Qinhei's father's head with 1 punch. This scene would replay in Song Qinhei's head every night. He wished that he could kill Xiao Chen. For the sake of revenge, Song Qian had been training very hard for the past 2 years. After Lu Ruyu, he became the next person to become a martial king before the age of 20, the second person to do so in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. After that, Song Qian successfully became Bian Peak's peak master. He led all the disciples of that peak and basked in his glory. Originally, he thought that by advancing to peak inferior grade martial king, he would have no problem dealing with Xiao Chen. However, Song Qian had not expected that all Xiao Chen had to do was glare at him and he would not dare to move. Song Qian carefully extended his perception, trying to see what Xiao Chen's cultivation realm was. He was not feeling very confident. In the end, after trying to check, Song Qian realized that he could not make out Xiao Chen's cultivation realm. Xiao Chen was unfathomable. He is not a medial grade martial king and he is stronger than a regular superior grade martial king. Could this fellow be a peak superior grade martial king? Song Qian frightened himself with his thoughts. A peak superior grade martial king was as strong as several of the elders from the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's Elders' Assembly. However, it is fine if Xiao Chen is a peak superior grade martial king. I just have to hold him back and buy time. When Bian Peak's elders arrive, they will be able to deal with him. Bian Peak disciples, heed my call. This person is a traitor of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. Kill this person. After that is done, everyone will be rewarded. I will reward each of you 5,000 inferior grade spirit stones. After Song Qian made up his mind, he sent out a dark green signal flare. Then, he gave out orders using his status as a peak master. Huang Dang. Huang Dang. In this group, the disciples behind Song Qian were all from Bian Peak, so they were his subordinates. Furthermore, Xiao Chen had indeed committed a treacherous offense. With the allure of the huge reward of spirit stones, these disciples immediately drew their weapons and pointed them at Xiao Chen. Kill! Song Qian shouted and led the group in charging forward. The mob that rushed forward with blazing auras stopped. They had shocked expressions as they did their best to hold on to their sabers, which were struggling to escape their grips. Half a move, Xiao Chen used only half a move. This group was originally very confident, spurred on by the promised reward. However, they were forced into a state where they could neither advance nor retreat. They could only miserably resist the Saber Intent. Within the half-step martial monarch realm, Xiao Chen was almost unrivaled. The person with the highest cultivation in this group was an inferior grade martial king. Xiao Chen was already showing them a lot of respect by using half a move. This respect was on account of their being from the same sect and their use of sabers as well. Otherwise, he would not even have drawn his saber at all. Shoo! Xiao Chen moved his hand forward, pulling the pitch-black lunar shadow saber completely out of the scabbard. A dazzling, resplendent purple light appeared as a boundless saber intent spread out. Su! 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 The whole group lost their grips on their sabers entirely. Their sabers soared into the air and circled above them. Saber Intent! This is Saber Intent! The Bian Peak disciples exclaimed in quivering voices, obvious fear on their faces, as they quickly retreated. Xiao Chen maintained a calm expression. Turning to face the fleeing Song Qian in the distance, he pointed his saber. Then, an overwhelming killing intent poured out from his eyes, and the air seemed to solidify. The killing intent was bone-chilling. Locked down by Xiao Chen's state of massacre, Song Qian felt like his legs were filled with lead, like they weighed a ton and he could not move a step. Bang! That killing intent poured into Song Qinhei's chest and pervaded his whole body. His chest felt extremely uncomfortable and his legs trembled. His eyes filled with horror. After a while, Song Qian could no longer endure, plopping down to his knees. Doing his best to resist the pressure in his mind, he supported himself with one hand to ensure that he did not end up prostrate. When Song Qian looked at Xiao Chen, hate was evident in his eyes. He said through clenched teeth, "Xiao Chen, don't think you can do what you want because you are a peak superior grade martial king. Since you entered the Heavenly Saber Pavilion, you will definitely die for sure." Superior grade martial king. I surpassed that long ago, Xiao Chen said with a calm tone. A surging crystal saber chi soared out from his saber. The saber chi immediately opened a horrifying wound on the kneeling Song Qinhei's chest. The wound was about 7 centimeters deep and blood gushed out of it, even his internal organs could be seen. The impact knocked Song Qian back, his expression appearing extremely pained. Currently, Xiao Chen was on a major road in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion. This was a road that disciples of every peak would have to take if they wanted to go down the mountain. So there was a lot of traffic here at all times. Xiao Chen and Song Qinhei's fight had already attracted the attention of many passing disciples. Several of them were feeling curious and suspicious about Xiao Chen's identity. When the crowd heard what Song Qian said, they were finally convinced of Xiao Chen's identity. They looked at Xiao Chen in shock, shaken. Damn, it really is him. After not seeing him for 2 years, he is unexpectedly much stronger than he was before. I suspected it was him long ago. The white-robed bladesman, Xiao Chen, killed a Heavenly Saber Pavilion peak master in the past. Unexpectedly, he still dares to come back so openly. He even comprehended Saber Intent. I believe there has not been anyone from our Heavenly Saber Pavilion who has comprehended Saber Intent for at least 1,000 years. Without Saber Intent, we are just incomplete bladesmen. I wonder if Song Qian is lucky or unlucky. He ran into Xiao Chen the moment the latter arrived. The surrounding cultivators discussed what just happened. To them, it felt like the legendary battle of the white-robed bladesmen at the heaven-ascending platform from 2 years ago was happening right before them. Previously, there were people who doubted Xiao Chen's strengths. However, after seeing his performance now, no one would deny it. This was the beginning of a legend, an epic legend that belonged to the white-robed bladesman. Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and ignored the heavily injured Song Qian. He faced the crowd's words of astonishment and praise calmly, appearing neither proud nor arrogant. Xiao Chen, you killed my father and humiliated me time after time. I, Song Qian, will make you suffer a life worse than death sooner or later. When Song Qian, who was on the ground, saw that Xiao Chen did not care about him at all, treating him like an ant, he felt humiliated. Hence, he roared out angrily like a maniac. Xiao Chen's calm face completely sank. Who was the one who came to him seeking trouble repeatedly, trying to kill him? Who was the one that kept eyeing Qingyan Peak in the Heavenly Saber Pavilion? Who was the martial king who bullied him, an insignificant martial grand master? Who is it who took advantage of his departure to send assassins after him? Who is it who made matters worse for Xiao Chen during a critical moment? Who is it who did not care about propriety and honor, sneak attacking Xiao Chen before everyone, and almost killed Lu Ruyu instead? It was Song Ke, Song Qinhei's father. Dying 1,000 times was too good for such a degenerate. However, when Song Qian spoke, he made it sound like Xiao Chen was the unreasonable one, like Xiao Chen had bullied him. He twisted words and forced logic shamelessly. How could there be such logic in this world? How could Song Qian distort the truth like that, speaking such nonsense? Bang! Xiao Chen's figure flickered and he kicked Song Qinhei's chest. Song Qian flew up into the air and landed heavily on the ground. Don't ever mention your trash father in front of me. Don't think that I do not dare to kill you. Back then, I killed your father in front of everybody, I can do the same to you today. Xiao Chen said coldly, stepping on Song Qian. He was expressionless and his voice was bone-chilling. The heavily injured Song Qian was frightened into trembling, not daring to speak another word. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Just at this moment, 5 elders of Bian Peak flew over from the distance after seeing Song Qinhei's signal. Immediately, a glimmer of hope lit up in the desperate Song Qinhei's eyes. The people he was waiting for finally arrived. Oh no! The 5 elders of Bian Peak are here. These 5 people had become superior grade martial kings many years ago. This is bad for Xiao Chen. This father and son pair are really evil. First, they forced our Heavenly Saber Pavilion's genius away. Now, they want to kill him. Indeed, if he can represent the Heavenly Saber Pavilion in the 5-nation youth competition, we would be able to bask in the glory of the position he gained. With Xiao Chen's strength now, there would not be any problems in entering the top 50. By then, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion would gain luck and by extension we would as well. Unfortunately, that bastard Song Ke ruined the geniuses we were given. What an ass. This father and son are both good for nothings. All the young cultivators felt it was a pity. One had to know that the Heavenly Saber Pavilion had not had a genius like Xiao Chen for a long time already. Back then, although Murong Chong was very powerful, he was far from comparable to Xiao Chen. That battle at the Heaven Ascending platform had made Xiao Chen's name, rocketing him to fame in an instant. It also resulted in young Heavenly Saber Pavilion disciples basking in fame as well. When they went out on experiential training, people would frequently ask if they were of the same sect as Xiao Chen. When they received a positive answer, they would give these young disciples envious looks. One had to know that the Heavenly Saber Pavilion had been declining for many years. Before the decline, the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's disciples had never been treated like this. The sect had been suppressed by the Misty Sword sect and Night Spirit Palace since then. This fame resulted in the younger generations of disciples revering and respecting Xiao Chen and not having a good impression of Song Qian and Song Ke. Who had not admired their heroes when they were young? Who did not want to become legends, respected by thousands? However, reality was cruel. They slowly came to understand their situation better, and they ended up laughing at their dreams. However, when they discovered that such a legend was right beside them, their hot blood surged. When they saw Xiao Chen having difficulties, they all became nervous. In contrast to them, Song Qian, who was being stepped on by Xiao Chen, was laughing. He was laughing very happily and without restraint. This was because Song Qinghei knew that the white-robed bladesman stepping on him would be stepped on, instead. His humiliation would be revenged and his hatred would be resolved. 5 old men wearing Bian Peak uniforms floated high in the sky. When they saw the rescue signal exclusive to Bian Peak, they immediately rushed over. Unexpectedly, these old men were still too late. When they looked at the situation on the ground, they immediately understood what happened. Martial uncles, he is Xiao Chen. He is the one who killed my father. He is only a peak superior grade martial king. You have to help me take revenge. Song Qian cried out loudly. He did not care that Xiao Chen was stepping on him. The 5 old men were all at least 80 years old and extremely rich in combat experience. After they gave Xiao Chen a quick glance, they all started cursing in their hearts. While Song Qian was not aware what cultivation realm Xiao Chen was at, they could tell at one glance. How is he a peak superior grade martial king? He is clearly a half-step martial monarch expert. Furthermore, his aura is so strong and drawn out. He is not one of those trashy half-step martial monarchs with lousy cultivation techniques. This little bastard Song Qian was simply asking them to die by sending them forward. While the gap between peak superior grade martial king and half-step martial monarch was not as big as the one between martial king and martial monarch, it was still a big gap. These 5 old men had already lived a long time, they were very astute. They knew that they would not even be able to delay Xiao Chen, even if they worked together. Furthermore, they would end up offending a genius cultivator with great potential. The 5 old men did not say anything. They only exchanged glances and flew away, returning to where they came from. Why are the 5 martial kings leaving? How strange. Were they frightened away? The many disciples who were originally worried for Xiao Chen were full of questions. Song Qian gaped. His mouth was opened so wide that it could easily accommodate a large egg. The carefree smile on his face had not even faded yet. Why did they leave without even saying anything? These martial uncles normally dote on me. Why did this happen? Why? The contrast to his expectations was too big. Song Qian felt dizzy, as if his brain had short-circuited. At first, Song Qian had hit rock bottom in despair. However, that was not the worst thing. The worst thing was that after he fell into despair, he had thought he had the chance to turn things around, giving him hope. Then, he was knocked back down. Song Qian finally gave in to his despair. When his hopes were dashed, on top of his severe wounds, he fainted. Xiao Chen casually kicked Song Qian to the side. Then, he raised his head to look at the clouds above. There were a few strong people gazing at him from up there. However, these people harbored no malicious intentions. They did not move to stop Xiao Chen. His chest tightened slightly. Xiao Chen knew who were in the clouds. He was not the only half-step martial monarch, so the Heavenly Saber Pavilion was not a place where he could do as he pleased. Not to mention the few core elders in the Elders' Assembly who were half-step martial monarchs, there were also the Supreme Elders with startling cultivations. Just one of them could easily kill him. These strong existences did not make a move against Xiao Chen, displaying their attitudes towards him. This impartiality gave him greater confidence. Xiao Chen continued to hover 1 centimeter above the ground as he walked towards Qingyan Peak. The surrounding disciples quickly gave way and watched him leave. At this moment, in Qingyan Peak, the pony-tailed girl whom Xiao Chen stole the medallion from looked at an instructor of Qingyan Peak with watery eyes. There was also a group of female disciples around the pony-tailed girl, noisily talking about what happened. The pony-tailed girl had felt extremely anxious when her medallion was stolen by Xiao Chen. Fortunately, she ran into a group of her senior sisters who were heading back. After that group of senior sisters found out what happened, they immediately took some flying spirit beasts and flew straight to Qingyan Peak to get Lu Sufeng to act on their behalf. After Lu Sufeng heard everything, he muttered, "So you are saying someone wearing white and from the same sect recognized Qingyan Peak's secret technique and broke it casually after snatching your medallion?" Leng Shishi nodded slightly. Feeling wronged, she complained, "That senior brother is a big bully. Not to mention snatching away my medallion, he even said that I did not practice enough and needed to practice more." Lu Sufeng said angrily, "How unreasonable. Since when can others nitpick the people of our Qingyan Peak? Don't cry. Let's go down the mountain together and look for that fellow. Elder brother Sufeng will mete out justice on your behalf." The group of female disciples then followed after Lu Sufeng as he went down the mountain quickly. At this moment, Xiao Chen was at the foot of Qingyan Peak. As he climbed the mountain, he experienced a myriad of emotions. Back then, Qingyan Peak had very few people on it, hardly anyone was seen on the huge mountain. Now, however, Xiao Chen would see some disciple chatting or practicing every few steps. There were even some disciples guarding the key areas. This resulted in Xiao Chen having to spend some effort to avoid them. The thing that Xiao Chen found the strangest was that these disciples were all young females of varying figures, there were no male disciples at all. Lang Shishi, who was following close on Lu Sufeng's heels, saw a carefree Xiao Chen looking around when they were halfway down the mountain. She quickly pointed at Xiao Chen and said to Lu Sufeng, "Elder brother Sufeng, he is the one who snatched my medallion. He came to our Qingyan Peak." Lu Sufeng exclaimed, "This brat is too arrogant. After snatching your medallion, he dares to come to our Qingyan Peak. Come, follow me. Watch as I teach this brat a lesson." Under Lu Sufeng's lead, the group of female disciples rushed down the mountain, quickly arriving before Xiao Chen. When the group approached Xiao Chen, Lu Sufeng finally saw Xiao Chen's face. His shock appeared in his eyes as he hastily came to a stop. The few girls behind him did not react in time and crashed into his back. "Elder brother Sufeng, why are you not moving? Go and teach him a lesson. He personally said that my profound wind chop is not well practiced. You were the one who taught me the martial technique." Lu Sufeng's anger immediately dissipated. He smiled somewhat awkwardly and said, "I can't teach this fellow a lesson. Brother Sufeng, it's been a long time." Lu Sufeng went forward and patted Xiao Chen's shoulders. He smiled and said, "You finally came back. You better return the girl's medallion." After Lu Sufeng received the medallion from Xiao Chen, he handed it to Lang Shishi and said, "I can't teach this fellow a lesson. However, there is someone who can. Hehe, you should go back first." When Lang Shishi received the medallion, she had a vacant expression. It was not just her but the entire group of girls, they all did not understand what was going on. Didn't Lu Sufeng say that he will mete out justice on Lang Shishi's behalf? Why is he behaving so friendly with this fellow now? "Elder brother Sufeng, who is this person?" one of the girls asked. Smiling, Lu Sufeng replied, "This is the white-robed bladesman, Xiao Chen, that you all keep talking about. Go back first." When the group of girls heard Lu Sufeng's words, the expressions on their faces changed as they looked at Xiao Chen. It even seemed like their eyes were twinkling like stars. Xiao Chen found these gazes uncomfortable. He quickly pulled Lu Sufeng and rushed up Qingyan Peak. Then, he brought Lu Sufeng to a rather desolate area and asked him what was going on. Lu Sufeng happily explained, "These girls are all your admirers. Thanks to you, in that battle 2 years ago at the heaven ascending platform, our Qingyan Peak became famous. In these 2 years, several outer disciples applied to come to our Qingyan Peak. Now, Qingyan Peak no longer ranks at the bottom of the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's 7 great peaks. Although we are still not as strong as Tianyu Peak, we are now full of youthful energy. Every year, there is a large number of new disciples. New blood keeps pouring in. Sooner or later, we will become the Heavenly Saber Pavilion's #1 peak." Xiao Chen felt surprised. He had not expected his battle that day to bring such great changes to Qingyan Peak. However, this was a good thing. The more people, the better. Only when Qingyan Peak truly developed could Lu Ruyu lay down the burdens in her heart and leave with him. Suddenly, Xiao Chen thought of something. He asked, "Why does it seem like all the disciples here are young females? There are no men around at all." Lu Sufeng said in a serious manner, "You have to thank me for this. I only accepted female disciples. It is all for your sake. As your future brother-in-law, I have a duty to help you through this period. So I did not let any males get close to sis." Smiling, Xiao Chen countered, "I seem to have heard those girls calling you elder brother Sufeng. You appear to be enjoying it. Is it really for my sake?" Lu Sufeng coughed twice and said, "Let's not talk about this anymore. I'll bring you to see sis." She should be at the dueling grounds at this time. Greetings, instructor. Greetings, Instructor Sufeng. As the two traveled, the female disciples they met on the way up would respectfully greet Lu Sufeng as instructor. As they walked, Lu Sufeng explained, "Don't look at me like that. Actually, most of the martial techniques are taught by Sis. I am just her assistant." Xiao Chen shook his head and said, "With your strength, you should have no problems guiding these 14 or 15-year-old girls." In the past 2 years, Lu Sufeng had undergone a metamorphosis. From the initial inferior grade martial saint, he had advanced to peak superior grade martial saint. He was only short of a step from breaking through the martial king barrier. With such strength, Lu Sufeng could be considered among the top in the heavenly saber pavilion. Even within the entire Great Qin nation, he could still be considered first-rate. However, when taking the entire continent into account, furthermore, when the era of geniuses was just budding, Lu Sufeng would not be able to compete. Nevertheless, Lu Sufeng's strength as a peak martial saint would still be more than sufficient for him to instruct these martial Grand Master female disciples. Lu Sufeng said seriously, "It is all thanks to your flowing light marigold. The further one progresses in cultivation, the more one realizes the importance of comprehension ability." Time flew as the two chatted. Soon, the dueling grounds appeared before the two of them. Xiao Chen was no stranger to the dueling grounds. In the past, when he had been at Qingyan Peak, he had spent most of his days here. "You can go in yourself. I will not stay to accompany you." After escorting Xiao Chen this far, Lu Sufeng gave Xiao Chen a cupped fist salute and took his leave. Xiao Chen pushed open the doors of the dueling grounds. The empty dueling grounds of his memories were now filled with people. Currently, there were about 200 or 300 female disciples standing in neat formations, all of them exhibiting perfectly straight postures. At the front, Lu Ruyu explained some of the martial techniques exclusive to Qingyan Peak. Occasionally, she would answer some of the disciples' questions. Currently, Lu Ruyu was dressed in tight blue cultivator's robes. Her exquisite figure was plainly visible. The past 2 years had not left any mark on her face. Lu Ruyu looked exactly the same as before. With every action she made, she displayed her grace, she seemed flawless. Xiao Chen stopped and revealed a faint smile. He leaned against the doors and looked on with interest. As he watched the focused Lu Ruyu, he felt a faint sense of satisfaction. For that moment, he thought of nothing else. Lu Ruyu was so focused that she did not sense Xiao Chen's arrival. So she continued to explain the peculiarities of the various Qingyan Peak martial techniques without stopping. As she explained, Lu Ruyu would draw her small saber out and personally demonstrate the move. This allowed these girls to gain a deeper understanding. The 3 consecutive days of lectures for this month end here. Remember to practice hard after you return. If there is anything you do not understand, remember to ask your fellow sect members. After 2 hours, Lu Ruyu waved her hand and dismissed the 200-odd female disciples. When the crowd had dispersed, Lu Ruyu's previously focused face started to reveal some exhaustion. Just as she was about to leave, she suddenly noticed Xiao Chen standing at the doors. She paused, thinking that she saw wrongly. After taking a careful look, she realized that the bladesman wearing the white clear wind robes with the long, slender lunar shadow saber at his waist was indeed Xiao Chen. Lu Ruyu put down what she was holding and quickly walked over, her eyes misting up. She still found it unbelievable that the person before her was really Xiao Chen. Lu Ruyu slowly raised her fair, slender right hand, extending it towards Xiao Chen's face. She really wanted to know if this was an illusion. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand to grab Lu Ruyu's wrist before pulling her into his embrace. Xiao Chen had many things in his heart, but when the time came, he did not know how to express them. So, he only muttered, "I've returned." This familiar person, this familiar smell, and this familiar voice, Lu Ruyu finally believed that the person she had been thinking of was indeed right before her. She eased herself from Xiao Chen's embrace and blushed slightly as she asked in a soft voice, "How have you been in the past 2 years? Let's go out first. There are many people here." Holding Lu Ruyu's hand, Xiao Chen burst out the doors. Lu Sufeng was currently outside with a group of female disciples secretly eavesdropping. As Lu Sufeng was in front, he bore the brunt when the doors burst open, hitting his face.